And we're off back to the races. This is Fight Court, and I'm your boy, Dean Thomas. Going live, doing big things. Big show this week. A lot of interesting stuff going on, so I had to bring out the big guns, starting with Natalia Rivera all the way in Peru, and my man, the mighty Quinn, Ryan Quinn. How you guys doing today?
I'm good. Looking at this camera now, I'm damn hairy. I don't know what the hell's going on. I really gotta get on top of that, but I am good. Nat, you look like you could use my beard. You look like you're covered up there.
Yeah, I'm cold and cozy. I'm enjoying the winter with my jacket. I love this material. I just love it. I'm not a fan of the sun, so I'm good with winter, but it's really cold here. So
Natalia, I gotta ask you, when it gets cold out, like, how do y'all care for the llamas?
That's a good one. Well, it depends, it depends on the reaction of the llamas. For example, Ramon, it's really cool going outside, staying outside. But Beatriz, you have to put her in, because she gets really like cold easily. So it depends on the llama and the alpacas because they react different.
Well, I heard that you don't want to piss them things off because they'll spit on you.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So don't provoke.
I've been spit on by a llama.
Well, right now the whole MMA community feels provoked because UFC 303 seems to be in jeopardy, starting with just this cancellation of the press conference. Now everything seems to be like everybody's kind of hush right now. So let's go back to the original cancellation. We were expecting this big press conference to kick off the big fight between Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler. Conor's return, talking about the greatest comeback ever. They had this press conference scheduled for Dublin, Ireland. Michael Chandler's set to get on the plane, and then all of a sudden, it gets canceled. Natalia, can you make some sense of this for me?
It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. This is just a lot to process because, well, first the cancellation on Sunday about the conference from yesterday, then today, this issue that ESPN and the website and on the TV, they have stopped advertising the UFC 303. There's a lot of people experiencing problems with the pay-per-view, to buy the tickets and to buy the pay-per-view. So it's a lot going on right now. And also there were a lot of fans that were publishing in X that the UFC have stopped putting a lot of free fights of Conor out there in the YouTube channel like it was before. So it's all weird. There's a lot of speculation. There's even people saying, like Sonnen, for example, a potential fight that can replace that one. So I don't know. It's just confusing. I really hope that fight doesn't get canceled because of the fans, because of Michael Chandler. And I mean, it would just be a mess. I still have hope.
What fight did Chael Sonnen say could replace it?
He said about BMF between Chandler and Holloway. And also there was I don't know who, I don't know.
Between Chandler and Holloway for the BMF?
Yes, for the BMF. And also, well, there was I don't know if it was a journalist or a fan that asked Kyla Harrison if she would step in if there was a proposition from the UFC about facing Amanda, in the 145 pounds. And she was like, yes. So, there's a lot of speculation of potential fights, but we don't want that one canceled.
Ryan?
As someone who said 6 months ago that this fight was never going to take place, I'm going to pull a complete 180 on that. This fight is still happening. I think it's a little bit different than what most people are looking at. I know that actually Ariel Helwani did a good piece as to why it's not the usual common denominators. Conor has fought through injury. I know everyone is talking about, Conor doesn't want to fight no more. Conor wasn't fighting. I think we're past that. We got this far into it. However, Sunday night, I saw something on Conor's Twitter. He posted something that looked fairly derogatory about Irish politicians. I don't know who they were. I know they were politicians, though. and he posts something saying filthy, whatever. And I think that I'm wondering if there was something, give or take where the world is at, where his Irish tour might have been canceled. Maybe not necessarily the fight, maybe because it's a government issue. The UFC is playing nice. They're going to keep it to themselves. So by the time it gets out of Ireland, they just go back to normal. I think that's why everyone's being hush hush. I feel like if it's an injury, we would have found out by now. What else is there? Oh, a drug test. Same deal. I don't think it would have gotten this far if it was a drug test. So I really think that this fight's going on. I think that there's something local in Ireland that they couldn't continue their tour, and we're going to see this fight. Everything's going to pick up next week.
Well, that makes a lot of sense because when I first heard about it, and Connor put out that tweet about or whatever it was about obstacles out of our control.
Yeah.
Obstacles out of listen.
Mhm.
Dana White is one of the most powerful men in sport and probably in the world. Conor McGregor, one of the most powerful men in sport and possibly the world. Combined with the UFC in terms of like WME and entertainment and Ari Emanuel and all this, how would it be possible that there would be anything that could get in their way of not allowing this to happen? So circumstances out of their control. To me, so I was like, there's absolutely no way that could be the reason. But if we're talking about like Irish government, that might be a little bigger. It might be able to force them to put a hold on at least the press conference. At least the press conference. Now that would make sense. If there was some issue with the government, then that would make a little bit more sense of why maybe the press conference isn't happening, especially in Ireland. But for the fight, honestly, man. So here's the thing: when you talk about Conor McGregor talking about the greatest comeback in sports history, that's what he's claiming this to be. Maybe this is a part of the plan to be the greatest comeback in sports history.
Oh, that's what I was thinking first. Like maybe he's playing because I actually didn't. I don't know about that tweet. I don't know if it's something about the government. It's I don't know if it's permissions or something like that. But it shouldn't be permissions or something, of that matter, and be that last minute.
I'm going to go back and look and see if that tweet was deleted or not, and I'll let you guys know. Because that would be a real big tell as well. I feel like it was. I feel like I went back to look. I couldn't find it. But I'll go back immediately after we record, and I'll go see if that tweet was deleted.
Yeah, that would be really helpful. But because if it's something about, more like, I don't know to say if it's politic. I don't think it's a politic thing. Maybe it could be more about like permissions, about, making an event, but that should be covered with time. I'm sure the UFC being as big as it is, it was covered with that. So the other reason was Conor McGregor. And I was thinking like maybe he's playing the Ryan Garcia card kind of thing, bringing all this heat, speculation and everything. But anybody have said anything yet? Not the UFC, not Conor, not Chandler, nobody. So it's weird.
It is weird. I mean, no one has said a word. And that's almost just as much. I mean, that's actually worse than like just trying to cover it up. Like not saying nothing is like that's a problem.
Yeah.
If they just came out and was like the PR person was just like, yeah, like when Connor first initially said there was circumstances. I mean, that's kind of a PR move. I mean, clearly that wasn't him writing it because that was a PR move. But the fact that the UFC's PR hasn't said anything yet, just like been silent, that to me is like, what could possibly be big enough and important enough to overshadow Conor McGregor's return fight at International Fight Week? Like, what could be big enough that could stop this?
Yeah, like And because it's International Fight Week, if it was something where they needed a replacement, A, they're going to find one. B, they would have gotten on top of that already because they need to market that. So, um, I
And
think
what
the fight's
about
still on. I think the fight's still on.
if it's Conor? I mean, if he's, because of all this speculation of the videos, which are really kind of weird, that
Well,
he's
like
I think
Connor
those
in the
videos are
club.
stupid. I think those videos are stupid.
They're stupid, but they're showing something, like he's just living a different life than an athlete of the elite that is focused on a fight.
Wait. How do we know that? How do we know that?
Because you're seeing that's real. Like he's not like
Athletes go
faking
out
it.
all the time. Like Michael Jordan.
No, but you don't post that in your
10 beers.
when you don't post
Because
that
there
when
was
you're
none
like
back then.
one month to fight. You don't post that. I don't think
He
there's
didn't. Somebody
athletes.
else did. But first of all, we didn't see any liquor in his hand. We didn't see any. Who if he was.
Yes.
We
He had it in his
It was
hand. We didn't see him
liquor.
drink it.
But even if it was, it's a month out. Even if it was, I know fighters that don't stop drinking when they like. If he's fine, he's in shape, he's letting loose. Who cares? I mean, I wish that when I was fighting that I went out a little bit more and I didn't just close myself off from the world because I was getting anxious. Who knows how he lets loose and lets his hair down and blows off steam. I don't see any problem with those videos. He's not being rambunctious.
I mean, and I get where both of you are coming from. Like, it's not. It's not a good look, Natalia. You're right. Well, I lost all my light there. I turned into a damn ghost. But you're right, Natalia. It's not a good look for him to have to go out like that. Right. So but that was it was his bar. To be fair, it was his club.
Yeah, it was.
So to be fair, it's his club, and he was like promoting his drinks and promoting like his brands on things. So I get perhaps him doing that, but at the same time, yeah, it's not a good look because of his history. Because he's known to be a fuck up. So like you don't want to fuck up to relapse. It's like, a couple of drinks here and there is okay for a person who's not an alcoholic. But if you got a
yeah,
like if I have a gambling problem and I'm trying to tell the world that I'm not gambling and I'm on a straight and narrow, you're not going to see me hanging out in a casino. It's not going to be like I'm no problem. I'm hanging out in a casino.
And not just that, but like, I don't know if you remember, but just a month ago or 1 month and a half ago, he was having a really weird reaction in this, the promotion of Roadhouse, and the interview that he was with Jake Gyllenhaal. Did you see that interview?
I saw that.
He was shaking. He wasn't talking. He was having, for me, he was having a mental breakdown right there in front of every single body, So for me, it's not like, I don't care if it's just drinking, if his wife is leaking out of his chest in a camera in front of everybody, because that is not normal. That leads me, at least me, that is something going on that is not right with his mental position right now. And he's going to face a great opponent in Michael Chandler after 3 years of not fighting and after a really crazy injury. So it's not a normal thing, that you just go on and have some drinks. It's not normal.
Well, here's the thing. Connor's a fuck up, and we expect that from him. But he still has never not fought. He still has shown up when he was supposed to, because he's still, in my opinion, he's still a martial artist somewhere deep inside that ridiculously crazy person of his. He's still a martial artist. I mean, you could see it when he was filming that show that he truly enjoyed the arts. I'm kind of with Ryan on this, that I still think it's going to happen. I think this might be part of some ploy to add some obstacles to just make this comeback seem bigger. Like this could just be, because we're all talking about it now, right? We're talking about it. I mean, I would probably rather be talking about some of the shit that happened in the press conference, because that's what we were expecting to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
but we're still talking about it. And I think the fact that we're talking about it and probably more mainstream sites are probably talking about it because it could be off. We're speculating that it could be off as opposed to talking about how, Michael Chandler said this about his mama and Connor said that about his baby mama and his kid. You know what I'm saying? So I think that this could just be a ploy to all that. I mean, again, I've seen crazier things in MMA, but let's just say, for example, for the sake of argument now that it doesn't happen. What fights could replace it and be accepted?
I think that you need to get Michael Chandler an opponent because he's still at least a third of the big promotion. I don't like he's not half, if you know what I mean. But to scrap it and put on a whole new main event, it's a lot of work. I would like the Max Holloway fight. I think that would work. Unless I don't know. I don't think Michael bumping up and fighting Kobe sells. I think that Michael and Max is probably for the BMF is probably the best bet. I think that's the best bet.
I don't think they do Michael Chandler if this doesn't go in the main event. I think co-main, but I don't think that they think he's a big enough draw without Connor to be the main event of International Fight Week. I think you need something bigger.
I'm with you, but because he's a good dance partner, he stands up and trades. He gets knocked out. He knocks people down. I think with the right opponent, you can market the fight. That's why I think a Max is a good opponent.
Yeah, I think definitely, like, I agree with you, Dean. I don't think Michael Chandler is a warrior. He's a dog, but he just doesn't like get the attention. And other champions right now, of course, Jones is not going to step in. Pantoja, he just fought, a number 10 guy. He just run all over the division. For the female, yeah, for the female, I mean, it would be interesting to see.
I know what they're going to do.
What?
They're going to do Raquel Pennington and Macy Chiasson.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
Dude.
Actually, Mayra Bueno Silva is fighting Chiasson in this one, so maybe they're going to step them up. No, but Kyla Harrison and Amanda, I mean, I like that. It's
I would not doubt if they presented it to him and they were like, Amanda, 10 million right now. We'll give you 10 million to do this. I wouldn't doubt if they presented that to them. I mean, if things are going this way. But Amanda and Kayla Harrison would be big enough. I would think that they probably throw a boatload of money at John Jones to try to make a turnaround to do it real quick, or even an Izzy and Drinkus fight, even though I know Perth is right around the corner, but they didn't establish a main event for that yet. But it's going to be important to really get a strong main event for this one because of what happened at 300, right? Because
exactly, yeah.
But I'm telling you what the bigger problem is. And I'm not going to be a hater here, but I'm just talking about responsibility. I'm talking about being responsible. For years, we've always advocated for fighter pay, fighter power, and just the ability for fighters to have some freedom. And the ones that do right now have not really been a good example for why we should give fighters this much money and power. I mean, you think about the fighters that have all the money and the power. What have they really done with it? Fucked up events. They took the money and their power and they fucked up events. And I want fighters to have more money and more power. But I also want fighters to be responsible with it and treat themselves as if they were still on the come up and they still have some love for the sport and want to do something good for the sport. But they get the money and the power and just go, fuck it. Nah, y'all owe me. Nah, fuck it. They haven't been responsible with it. It's fucked up.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a
It
matter
is
of
fucked up.
education, I think. I think it's a matter of just that, you know. Like there's one thing that I do. I don't know if you guys agree with me because you seem like pretty respectful, you know. But one of the things that I don't like in general in life is when people cancel last minute. Like that's one of the things that I just hate, you know. And I think that I'm not saying if it's what is happening right now with Connor. I feel like it's kind of what is going on. That's my feeling. It's not, you know, this is a speculation, but it's a matter of education. So, with that said, Dean and Ryan, I ask you how much it matters that the champion, because one thing is to be a great martial artist, but it also matters how are you as a person, like the quality of a person. Does that should matter in a criteria of judging a real champion?
I mean, there needs to be some. So, I mean, like when you think about we always compare us to MMA fighters to different sports. Oh, well, LeBron James and they make this much money, or Dak Prescott makes this much money. Yeah, but these guys hold themselves to a different standard in terms of professionalism. They have to show up to press conferences and answer questions. They can't be late to practices. They have to show up. Fighters don't give a damn. They don't care. I was doing karate combat and AJ Agazarm. You know him? You familiar with him, grappler?
Yep.
So the commentary team was talking about how he's notorious for being on the bill, showing up to saying the fight, and then the day of the fight saying, I want more money or I'm leaving. And he was going to do that at Karate Combat because he was supposed to face Lucas Barboza, and the fight was going to be off because he said he wanted more money or he was leaving. This is the type of shit that we're dealing with MMA guys. They do this type. I mean, think about it. Like all these MMA guys, they get into MMA because they failed somewhere else in life. So like this automatically, we're dealing with dudes that just are a little untrustworthy and reckless and a bit wild. And we all of a sudden want to give these guys power? Come on, man. Like they got to be responsible.
It's funny. This is making me think of how the talks about a fighters union and, oh, we got to get a fighters union. But this conversation, the gap is so far apart between the upper echelon, and what the lower level guys are getting paid. Not even talking about lower level on the UFC, PFL, but like those debuters, like these guys up here are never gonna take a hit for these guys down there. Like, and it's just it's and it goes to show you like this. Yeah, we're different. I'm up here, on the event, like. I'm with you, Dean. I wish there was a little bit more responsibility. And you know what? Believe it or not, I was thinking that Connor for a while was going to be that guy. He held himself as the businessman, but then bam, he's knocking out mascots at NBA games. He's just getting arrested. He's freaking coked up and drunk.
It's the movies.
Yeah, it's like Jesus. So, yeah, maybe he's not the guy. Like,
I forgot about him knocking out the mascot, the Heat mascot.
yeah,
I forgot about that. And just think, if anybody else did that's what their career would probably be known for. Like, oh man, that's the dude that knocked out the mascot. But he's so deep in juvenile activity that's something that I forgot about.
and even like the UFC, they're so big against like domestic violence, so they say. And you got lower level people, I forgot his name, Violent Bob Ross, getting cut. He hit a girl. Granted, I'm not for hitting women, but like then John Jones has had his issues. And like, oh, let's not get into Dana White. It's like, so clearly there's a double standard when it comes to these people who we would like to be responsible, and they know it.
It's about the power, no?
Yeah.
At the end. It's about the power that you give them, and I don't know what you think, Ryan, about what I was saying, like, because John Jones is like the best mixed martial arts, and we know he's not an example of a proper, gentleman, to put it in words. So does that affect in our criteria? Should be affecting or not? Because they're apparently in these sports they're two different things.
Yeah, all right, I went on a tangent there, but okay, I would prefer people to be respectful, humble individuals, but to me, John Jones is not, and he's still the greatest fighter to ever live, and he's still like a champ. He's the champion's the champion inside the cage. How he handles himself outside, like I said, I prefer he was a gentleman, but you know what? People love to hit a bad guy too. It's all about promotion at the end of the day. If you're winning and you deserve it, and you're winning without performance-enhancing drugs, which to our knowledge he is, he's the champion, and that's where it ends for me.
I get it. That's that, and that, but we got to get him to fight.
Yeah.
We need him to fight. We can't have him we can't have Tom Brady on a Super Bowl going, you know what, y'all? I thought about it. I don't really feel like doing this tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't have that. We got to get these. I mean, these guys, they fight once every 3 years.
Sometimes, you know what makes me think of stuff like that? And I mean, I guess I don't think it's really feasible, but if fighters were put on salary, like when they make enough money, they don't need to make another lump sum, especially if they have other like investments. Like football players and all, and they're on salary. And I wonder if that would affect how they operate. And
like proper rules.
Yeah, well, you're on a
job
schedule.
rules.
If you don't follow the schedule, you don't get paid. Granted, it's different with fighting, but I wonder if they figured something out along those lines, if it would help the issue.
I mean, it would be tough, man. I mean, you'd have to, because it's such an individual sport. Like, in order to do that, you'd have to be like, all right, you know what? In order to fight for the UFC, you're going to have to live in Vegas, train at the PI, and be a part of this system and program and do that. We're going to put you on a salary, but you have to follow these rules. But then, I mean, it's way too difficult to do that. Just
because of the volume also. Like, there's so much fighters and there's debuts constantly, but it's not a bad idea either. I think like it makes sense. It definitely makes sense, because if you have rules, job rules, then you act like you are, like that, like you said, Ryan, in a salary with a proper job with some schedule and rules to follow. But at the same time, there's freelancing, and it's still a job. So it's a hard one.
Yeah, but so I mean, there's no real. I mean, I don't like giving problems without solutions. So there's nothing I can really say in terms of a solution to this. I have no idea. I'm gonna leave that up to Dana and them, because Dana's always found a solution and figured it out. So I'm sure they've got something going on right now to figure this out. Only time will tell if we will get a good fight for International Fight Week. I know I'm going it regardless. I got Jillian Robinson on the card, so.
Oh, beautiful.
And so only time will tell if we'll have some good news out of this whole little debacle. But we're gonna move on from that. And Ryan, I'm gonna come to you for the Felon of the Week.
All right, we got Keegan Genrich. He is 8-2. He is the LFA lightweight champion, fighting out of Fox Valley Grappling Club in Wisconsin. He's actually fighting this weekend, defending his belt. Most of his wins are by finish. Most of those finishes are by submission. Tall, lanky guy, tough to take down, uses his range to set up his takedowns as well as his strikes. Very good opponent. He's 31, so yeah, I guess he's a little bit older. That being said, I would totally see him, especially if he pulls off the win this weekend, in a short notice fight at one of the bigger events. possibly a prove-it position in the Dana White Contender Series or the PFL or Bellator Series. Good fighter. Looking forward to seeing what he's got this weekend.
Well, guys, it's been a pleasure. It's been awesome. We will chop it up again next week. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you hit like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends about it. We'll be back next week. Stay tuned. And this quarter is adjourned.